Alright, so it's a short week this week. There's only, let me count here, like 5 books that came out this week that I'm actually picking up. But I do want to start off by making a little bit of an announcement. I have a lot of friends that aren't really into comic books, and I've got a couple of friends that wanted me to do something on YouTube. So I decided, fine, I'll do something, but you have to do it with me at some point. And what I've decided to do is I have certain storylines that I enjoy. I have certain storylines I think other people would enjoy if they just gave them a chance, like me, and I'll be getting into that, what got me into comics here in a second, with a certain storyline. And so I've decided that there's going to be a little subpart on my channel that's going to have just random people that don't read comics at all, friends of mine, that I'm going to have read a certain storyline, and we're going to talk about it. It's going to be a little going back and forth, and I'm still working on it. I've got a couple people lined up, and I'm really excited for it. But I just wanted to put that out there. So next up, comics. More comic. I don't know. Anyways, first comic this week was, sorry, Detective Comics number 12. The storyline was all over the place, and quite frankly, I can't wait till after Zero Month. I don't know if Tony Daniel's writing Zero Month next month, but I'm really waiting for it to be here, gone, just so this title will get a new writer. I know at 13 it gets a new writer, and I'm happy because, I mean, Tony Daniel, great artist. God, I've hated this run. I'm so sorry to say it. Not really. It's just been bad, and this made no sense. Detective Comics, there wasn't really much detective story to it besides how this villain had multiple incarnations, and it turns out it was just like a clone. We thought, oh, could it be the multiverse? Could it be this, that? No, it's just a clone because his original body's melting. Who? I don't care. It was boring, and it was a chore to read, and comics shouldn't be that way. Pretty to look at, chore to read. I can't wait till he's gone. Next up, Action Comics number 12. Another title that I honestly cannot wait until I think 16. Grant Morrison leaves. Grant Morrison has great ideas sometimes. Sometimes he doesn't, but sometimes he does. And you know what? Fine. But he makes them too damn complicated. I respect him, what he's done in the business. I've never read The Authority. If I remember correctly, that's his big book that everybody loves him for. I've read bits and pieces of his X-Men run. I mean, I've read some of them, and they had great ideas. I haven't read them, but I read like the synopsis pages of them on Wikipedia when I was doing research on what I should read on X-Men and stuff about Grant Morrison. Some of it looked good. Action Comics, I mean, it's this being that, comes for this girl, and it seems like it's going to be a multiverse story. No, it's a multi-dimension story, because Mr. Mezzelplick, I can never pronounce the dude's name, the little imp that from the fifth dimension, you know, turns out his landlady is from the fifth dimension. That's her nephew, the Clark Kent, and this great little story, great little issue. I think it was 10 when Clark Kent died, and it was a very good issue. I thought it was the best issue of the run so far. Is now completely retconned because the little fifth dimension landlady lady totally just said, "Okay, you're back alive. I have fifth dimension powers," and wah, fuck off. I hated that. If you're gonna bring him back, fine. Make it take a few issues. Really give it some oomph. Don't just say done. Yeah, you can tell I wasn't impressed this week. Next up is Earth 2, number 4. This one wasn't too bad. Earth 2's been pretty good, plus the fact it killed 1 million moms. I know I said that last month, but still, way to go. I was impressed with this. They started fighting Grundy, who, I think I said this last time. I don't know much about Solomon Grundy, so to me, what I've read with him, what I've seen with him on the Batman video games and cartoons and Justice League cartoons, it seems like this is a big stretch for him being like the embodiment of rotten death, I don't know, in this comic book in Earth 2. But it's still pretty interesting. Green Lantern pops up, the Flash pops up, and he starts, doing what he does. Hawk Girl pops up, but then the Atom, or the Atom Smasher, I want to say it's the Atom, who kind of in this book, I don't know, I mean, I don't know much about the Atom, except what I read in the Identity Crisis that I featured last week, was that he can shrink. Apparently, he can grow really tall too in Earth 2. I don't know if that's normal. I really don't. But he grows up really tall, and Hawk Girl, when she sees him, starts going, "I'm not going back." He's like, "We don't have a choice." Grabs her and tells Flash and Green Lantern to, come quietly. If I remember correctly, again, read it once, put it in here, and I don't have time to read them a bunch of times. Okay, don't judge me. So anyway, that was kind of weird. I don't really know what's going on. But of course, I'm going to pick it up because I'm really enjoying this book and I'm really enjoying the art. Nicholas Scott is just killing it, and I'm enjoying that. Next up is Smallville number 4. I'm in season 11. I enjoyed Smallville when it first came on, stopped watching it when it switched nights, tried to peek back every now and then when I got into comics, found out it was the last season, watched it religiously again. It was good. This is actually the end of the first episode, for this, and it was pretty good. Henshaw, he fights the cyborg Superman, I guess you could call it, Hank Henshaw in the Smallville universe. Finds out that Lex Luthor has, whenever the ship exploded in the last issue, it painted Superman with all this radiation, and he can't go home because Lex Luthor can follow him, and he'll know he's Clark Kent, so he refuses to go home to Lois or anybody. And so it kind of ends on a tearjerker moment, not really tearjerker, but sad, down moment, because Lois is whispering something at the window so she can hear him say goodnight or whatever. And at the end of the issue, Hank Henshaw's like, I'm sorry, I did bad. Bad Cyborg Superman. I don't really know what's going on with that, but I'm still interested, and I can't wait for the next issue because there's a small little backstory with Oliver Queen and Chloe, the married couple. There's a second Chloe from an alternate Earth, and all she said to him before she died was, "Tell Superman the crisis is coming." So I'm curious to see what that means. The crisis, if we all know our DC history, the crisis. So that looks like fun. My pick of the week, which surprises me because sometimes, I think it was my pick of the week last time around too, when it came out. Avengers vs. X-Men number 9. Story was pretty good. You find out they've been going on little raiding parties. The Avengers have to try to save their comrades and find them. Every time they go out, few and few come back. It starts off with a raiding party coming back, and Thor gets taken out by Colossus and Pixie, I think, his sister. I don't know. I'm not a big X-Men person. I know Colossus. I don't know his sister too well. I know she's a demon thing. Anyway, and I mean that as in she's a bitch. I also know she does stuff with demons, but she's a bitch. I'm sorry. I've never liked her when I've read her. Spider-Man's featured here on the cover, all beaten and bruised. He does a great little last stand. The Avengers go out, they find their fallen comrades, they go to rescue them, but then Colossus and the bitch show up, and Spider-Man's sitting there going, "There's no way we can all get out. We're gonna get killed." They're even saying, "Well, maybe we should just end it now and stop being bothered by them because they're stopping us from doing our lovely world peace thing." So they're gonna kill the Avengers. That's world peace all together. Spider-Man just realizes I have to push these people out of the way. I'm going to have to hold them off myself and make sure everybody else can get out. So he does that, gets the crap beat out of him, and then talks them into turning on each other, which is really cool. And then at the end, when they both fall, as they did with Namor, as what happened with Namor, power goes to the other left over, which is Cyclops and Emma. And at some point in this book, Cyclops and Emma have a conversation. She's just sitting out in the hottest place on Earth, so there's no mines around for miles, and so she can be in the quiet. And he leaves her because Cyclops leaves her because she says, "I know where Hope's being kept," and he goes off to find Hope. And she sits there, goes, "Don't leave me. I'm afraid what I'm going to do." And then she does something. She just randomly appears in someone's house and kills him. I mean, yeah, he killed a mutant long time ago, like in the 80s, which is kind of weird. I don't like when they give dates the book. Anyway, yeah, he did something bad, but that was just a random, because all of a sudden, blood starts coming out, and then she appears. So, I mean, now those two are even more powerful, and at the end, since Cyclops knew where she was, he was able to break through dimensional barriers and find Hope. So at the very last issue is him just popping into the alternate dimension city that the Avengers are hiding out in and saying, "Hope, time to come home. Come on, stop this foolishness. Come on home." So I'm looking forward to in 2 weeks where we get the new issue just to see what happens from there. Now, my pick of the week, I'm so happy. I sent this off 2 years ago and I'm finally getting it back graded. This is the very first comic I ever got. Well, not ever, but this is the comic that started all for me, that made me start to love comics. I got this the week it came out, and it was just basically this cover. I was like, "Oh, that's a pretty cover." Picked it up, read it, loved it. Brew Baker, my favorite writer. This is Captain America Reborn number 1. Great at 8.5, which makes sense. I've let some people borrow it, and I've read it so many times myself. But anyways, the storyline I picked was Reborn. I mean, I picked Death of Captain America about a month ago, I think. 2 weeks ago was Civil War, so I decided, why not? I mean, it was the death of Cap, and this is where Steve Rogers finally comes back. Great story. It's one of those stories that when I say to people, if you want to get into comics, I think this would be a great pickup story. I mean, yeah, you're behind a little bit, but it's just a great story.